and welcome to my live session. Good morning, good afternoon, whenever you're going to watch this. Okay, so it was not particularly that at night I wanted to make it. I was not able to find time to make this. Okay, so today I wanted to talk about overthinking. Like, number of people have asked how to stop overthinking, and because in the past 6 7 years I've seen that I have changed drastically, okay, owing to the spiritual processes and so many changes that occurred in my own life that led me probably to meditation and many sorts of reprogramming the minds, reprogramming my mind and other people's mind. So I thought it's a good idea to talk about this because it will probably help everyone. So how to actually think of getting rid of overthinking. So, in this, I would first say that you got to understand two things very clearly. First is overthinking, and then understanding where is it sprouting from. That is the mind. So, to understand the mind technically, okay. So, what is overthinking? Overthinking is like you get beyond a certain range of feasible thinking or thinking which can be called normal, and you keep getting obsessed with the thought of something or someone. And we are generally talking about a certain situation which keeps bothering our mind every now and then. Like everything that happens, it becomes like you become kind of possessed by the idea that it's about me, right? So the idea that if someone says something, and then you are obsessed with the idea of thinking, ki, why did the person say like that? Did the person not like the way I spoke, or what I said? Was I wrong in saying that? And I know all kind of like the minutest and the most like the least important kind of details we keep thinking and struggling with giving up the thought of that. So what is overthinking? It's like thinking beyond what is required, and that's the understanding of overthinking. And when you come to understand like why is it there, coming to that problem, we'll first have to understand where does it sprout from. Okay, so it technically sprouts from your mind. Okay, and the mind can be a great slave, but the mind is a very very bad master. Okay, so talking about overthinking, we need to understand the mind. Okay, mind can be an excellent slave if you train it according to yourself, and that's my personal experience in the past at least 4 to 5 years. And it's not just about 4 to 5 years, but especially in the last 2 years, I saw my mind behave as I wanted it to. Okay, so it's an excellent slave, but it's a terrible master. Okay, if you allow it to be the master and you just go on with whatever it is out there, it will create a lot of problems, the mind. So if you technically, I always like to give this example to my mentees. Let's say you get a bucket filled with water and you put in a lot of dust. Okay, there's a lot of dust particles which is like moving around, swirling around. So when you look from the above, you cannot understand what exactly is there inside. Let's say you put up some very beautiful pebbles deep inside. However, owing to the dirt and the dust particles, you're not able to look at those pebbles at all. Why? Because they're all in motion. How do you program the mind to settle down things? Okay, how do you program the mind so that these dust particles finally come into distillation and they settle down, so that you can also look deep within what is there. Okay, because the mind can actually be working very very beautifully, giving you the best life you can ever think about. And even before talking about the best life, let me just tell you that best life is not about just making money. Best life is about I will tell you personally, best life is about getting over the deepest hurts in your life. Right, you must have faced something like that in your life wherein you were like deeply heartbroken, deeply hurt, and at that point of time some people think about suicide and things like that, or however, like you're not getting that peace of mind, you're keeping thinking and thinking and thinking over it. From that phase, coming up to a phase where you don't think. Okay, you just get inspired and do the work, and your mind cannot bother you, the mind cannot stop you and make you feel that, oh, let's just lie down and let's just waste time. How about that kind of a situation? That is a beautiful life. And I think, fortunately, I am leading that kind of life, which is a beautiful life in the sense that I have the biggest thing on the planet, which is peace of mind. right? So there are strategies. So how do you understand overthinking? So overthinking can happen owing to a number of causes. The number one cause, I found this quotation somewhere, was if you are an overthinker, you're also an underfeeler. Okay. So the brain has to take over if you're not allowing your heart to stop and feel the hurt or feel those emotions that belong to you. You got to feel your feelings. Okay. So if you're deeply hurt, I've heard this about boys, and there are a number of memes that, what happens to girls after they are heartbroken, what happens to boys after they're heartbroken. So the girls, like, they're going to sulk, okay, and the best friends are also going to come and help her in sulking. However, the boys, the very next day, they're out on the bike and they're doing the best of things and say, oh, it's just over. So it's not like saying that what the boys doing are wrong, and some of the girls also do that they don't want to, you don't want to accept that there's a hurt. And it's not just related to heartbreak. It can be related to professional problems. It may be related to your relationship, a career, anything, right? So when you finally, you are not recognizing your emotions, you're not ready to spend time with those emotions, then you become an overthinker. So what you have to stop yourself from is you have to stop being an underfeeler. Please give yourself that much time to overcome. In fact, one of the best books that I always keep talking about, it's on shadow work. It's kind of, there is some text and there's kind of a workbook part as well. Kayla Shaheen, you can find it on Amazon. Obviously, that's like 1,000th book I've picked up, but I think that it's a very direct book. And the way towards healing, like the way out of the pain is the way through the pain. You got to go back into the pain, analyze it, realize it, feel it, and then move out of it. Like people who keep thinking about the same person for like the whole life. Okay, so you met this person maybe when you were 13 or 19 or whatever, and even at the age of 80 you still remember that person. Or if anyone talks about that person and you get goosebumps, oh my god, that person is being talked about, are those people who either did not feel their emotions when they were heartbroken, or are those people who did not take action at the right time. Okay, so in short, I would say that understanding overthinking is understanding that you have either not felt your feelings well, or you have not taken action, the right action which was supposed to be taken at the time. Now, we can't do much about actions. Like, let's say things of the past are gone. You can't do much about, the wrong actions. And, a part of that overthinking will be like blaming you. You were wrong. You should have done this. You should have taken this course. Why did you take up science? Or, why didn't you go and talk to that person at that point of time? So all those kind of thoughts come. Or why didn't you save enough money? So now that action cannot be taken, you cannot go back to the past and take actions. And I remember at one point of time, I think it was during COVID. During COVID, I think everyone was like expanding in some way, or like people were shriveling up in some way. I was actually literally expanding in the sense that I read a lot about quantum physics, about time travel, and I really wanted to change my life. I had undergone this emotion that, no, why am I here? I've studied a lot and I gave my best in all relationships. Why am I suffering? So after studying all of it, like I literally understood I cannot go back to the past, which everyone knows, obviously. But then I got a very, very big lesson that I am shaping my life. Like every choice of mine, from getting up early in the morning to eating the right diet or doing the right exercises and saying what is required at the right time. And that does not include just talking lovingly, also talking directly and straightforward to people, whether they be close or they be formal or they be professional, my bosses, whoever, is of utmost importance. So now that the past is gone, you can do nothing about it. What can you do right now? You can actually observe your thoughts. What is it that you're actually thinking about a lot? And then ask yourself these questions like, which emotion is associated with it? Or what have I not done that I'm still thinking about it? Sometimes it's about, where have I not forgiven myself? And let me tell you that most of the times, when I listen to women, because I've helped many women heal in their lifetimes and write their books and become speakers and all, and many children too, in fact. most of them, whatever they have, like, only today morning someone called me, and it was a counseling session I was giving her. She cried half an hour, and another, like, I spoke just 10 minutes, and like in 1 hour session, half an hour she was crying. 20 minutes she kept saying, my husband didn't do this, my father-in-law didn't do this, my parents didn't come to me, my kids don't respect me. So I do understand, I know all that pain very well, but what I want you to know is that the hurt is not about what others didn't do. The hurt is about what you didn't do for yourself. Please make that clear. The biggest hurt is about ourselves. I did not stand up for myself in the right time. That was the action we were all supposed to take. No one has to be blamed. Okay. Yes, we all have those expectations. And you ask me about women or girls, we have the fanciest of expectations with marriage. I'm going to surrender everything. I'll be that Tulsi Bahu, and then he will provide for me, and he will love me like anything, and he will never look at any other woman, and he'll always like what I'm cooking, and he'll stand up for me in front of his parents. This is the basic expectation of every woman, and the basic expectation which is mostly not fulfilled at all. So where did we fail? We failed because we put someone before us. Okay, we gave importance to someone else than us. And if at all today I'm a good mother, if at all today I'm comfortable with 2 kids alone, I think the reason is that I have put myself first before my kids. My mental health is really very important, because till the time I was operating as a sacrificing mother, I was not able to provide, frankly. Now my mind does not keep questioning what to do next, what to do next. Thank you so much. So when I realize that, my body weight, or the way I look, or the way I feel, the kind of food that I eat, and the kind of books that I'm reading, am I doing something for myself? When I put those things on priority, automatically my kids became happy kids. Because a cup that is not filled can never pour love. So I became that cup with a lot of love. So overthinking can be a lot about the past, wherein you did not stand for yourself. And how to get there is to begin by going back into those moments. Okay, that can be very, very dissatisfying, and many people, thank you so much, many people actually don't like doing that. A lot of women, in fact, I always say, I gave this 10 days absolutely free public speaking course for 50 women, and there were, I think, 67 or something like joined. Ultimately only 22 stayed, because the rest of them, when I took them through healing, that if you want to open your voice, then you got to open up that past mistakes. Only 22 stayed, and the rest of them were not comfortable with opening up. So you got to open up yourself, go back into the past, and see what is it that is still taking up the space in your mind. That has to be done, because you don't go back into the past. Many people say, like one of my students was saying, how is past life regression helpful at all? I am totally focused on the future. Dude, when you are held back through ropes in your past, how can you actually move ahead? The past is like pulling you towards itself. Thank you. And you think you can move ahead. You cannot. Yes, in fact, in my deepest of meditations, I've seen a number of my past lives, and they were very, very painful. I can tell you that I've seen at least 15 of my past lives in meditations as well as in regression. What happened ultimately was that a few months I had to stay in the past, in the sense that I had to like nurture myself and heal those emotions. But what happened? My mind became very fast after that. It was like a full load moved out, as if, a full person went out of me that was filled with negativity. So I'm not talking about past life regression over here, and I'm not suggesting that you go into deepest of meditations where you will also meet your past life, but at least think of this lifetime. Let's say you have not been able to fulfill yourself in terms of career. You still have time. Today I was talking to a 37-year-old, and she said that nothing is possible now. I said, I am going to be 41, and only in the last 4-5 years have I become a TEDx speaker and author of 5 books. And more than all these struggles and all these names, okay, I think I've become very happy. I have recognized myself, and I am very comfortable with myself. And I'm comfortable with myself living alone. That is the biggest gift you can give yourself. Anyway, so one of the things is like going back into the past and forgiving yourself. Go into that situation. Think whether, like this woman was telling me today that, I listen to absolutely everything. So that was not correct. But you got to forgive yourself that you did not stand for yourself. We have all done that. We have all at some point of time listened to nonsense, disrespectful comments. In fact, many women have taken abuse. I'm sure men have also done that. So you got to go into the past, cry over it as much as is needed, forgive yourself. Once you forgive yourself, you will understand and realize that the other person was never important actually. All those things that trigger you about that person is actually something inside you. Why do some children get bullied more than the others? That's a very important question. Why do some children get more bullied than others? There's something inside them that is inviting the bullies towards them. Okay, there's some level of weakness in these children. There's some level of care, that I'm going to listen and tolerate. The way you communicate or behave with a person always tells the other person that I'm going to tolerate this much. And when you don't tolerate that much, they will not play any kind of pranks or bullying games with you. The problem with bullies is that they have been there themselves. No person who's a bully is a person who is mentally and psychologically healthy. A bully is always a person who has been bullied in the past. Consequently, this bully recognizes the targets that this person can be bullied. Like the mothers-in-law, they faced that in the past. Consequently, they get the daughters-in-law to face the same. They know how much she be feeling at the moment. She has just come. And if I say this, she'll be under a shock. Okay. So she very much understands the psychology. It's not like she doesn't understand how sad she is. In fact, she's a sadist. Like the mother-in-law is a sadist because she's enjoying. She has internalized that hatred through her mother-in-law and her parents-in-law. So overthinking also happens because you have not forgiven yourself. You got to go back into the past and then forgive yourself. Right. So what you have to do, you have to feel those emotions. You have to express those emotions. If you have a good friend who can listen to you, that's great. If you don't have a good friend, then make the diary your friend. Write about it. Okay. And accept that this is a part of you. This is a part of you. So like a few years ago, I had a lot of hatred towards whatever was like till date. I cannot tolerate news related to women related crimes and all that and rapes and all those things. And I've seen a number of past lives wherein I was a woman and suffered as a woman. However, this thing got healed when I realized that in a past lifetime as a man, I had treated my mother badly and I had treated my wife badly. So yes, I was fortunate or unfortunate to see my past lives as well to realize the deeper parts of my personality. But whatever triggers you, whatever gives you this idea of overthinking is something that you haven't forgiven about yourself. So you got to sit with it, think about it, accept it. So the idea that, like going to some places, and I would not mention the places, of course, but going to some places, I realized that I grew very uncomfortable. And I grew uncomfortable to the amount that I just wanted to leave instantly. But then I stayed and asked myself this question, why? Why am I so uncomfortable? And then came back a past, like 8 years ago, I had been there in a very, very bad situation. Like I used to feel helpless in my life 8-9 years ago, and I'd been there to that place at that point of time. So I went through those emotions and then I let it go. And it actually evaporated. It like went into thin air. And after that, I've been there a number of times and like felt absolutely normal. Of course, it takes time. So once you've accepted things that, okay, I am like this and these are my problems, the next thing is to set goals against it. Like let's say that some people also overthink that they are procrastinators and they are lazy and they're not doing this and they're not doing that. And the overthinking is on these cycles. So what is the problem? The problem is that you're not taking action, right? You're thinking that this is a problem, but then get out of the loop. Now it's becoming a vicious cycle. So let one action be out of it. Okay. I know it's not as easy. So goal setting also becomes an important part of this, that what is that thing that is causing you that unrest or restlessness? Goal setting is a very important part, and goal setting can be done. Let's say that, I want to attain a certain thing by the next 1 year. So I have given myself 12 months. You always start the goal setting with the longest span of time. So I want to do it in 1 year or 3 years. Then I break it down. Let's say I want to do it in 1 year. Okay. So then I would break it down into 12 tasks. What should I attain in every 1 month? Once I've come down to those 12 tasks, what is the thing that I need to attain in the first month? Once I've come down to that first month, I will break it down further into 4 weeks. Okay. Smart goals. They should always be like time oriented. Otherwise, the goals will never get over. Like, there are many people that I have to lose weight. By when? Okay. So the time is very important. Then you break it down further into 4. And then you know that for this week, this is the task I have to finish off. The next week, this is the task I have to achieve, and things like that. Goal setting is a very, very important part. And once you've set the goals, one very important part is that you should be action oriented in the sense that you stay in the present. Okay. And don't keep thinking, kal ye karna hai, kal ye karna hai. Now you're getting into a different kind of overthinking. Ki kal ye karna hai. Goal setting also involves what are you going to do in the whole day. Now, for some people, no, not for some people, actually, maximum population, the entire day is about getting up in the morning, brushing your teeth, taking a bath, and then going to office or whatever, just coming back, finishing all the work and finishing off food and sleeping off. That's not life, actually. Let me tell you, you're just existing. You're not living. You got to have your hobbies. You got to have your, exercise or fitness regime. You got to have a plan about what kind of food are you eating or what kind of content are you ingesting. Like, this content creator, Mr. Ranveer Alabadia, got caught into this. So the idea that, and I found out that many people actually are watching that show, like that disgusting kind of a situation. Whatever you are thinking, you think it's fun, you think it's cool, it's shaping your brain that way. And at the same time, you also say that I want to speak that kind of English. Is it possible when you are degenerating your brain with the wrong content? So a good life looks like, a regular day looks like you live for yourself also. You just don't live for earning money. Okay. Because money does not give happiness. What money can buy gives happiness. Okay. And any money that has been earned at the cost of your mental and physical health is not useful, because happiness, the idea of happiness also includes a good health and feeling good, right? Those things need to be taken into concern, because otherwise they also become a part of your overthinking pattern. So understanding the mind, then the mind is actually, just as I began, the mind is a good slave. You need to reprogram it. How does the reprogramming happen? There are a number of ways. Of course, the toughest of them can be Vipassana. And I always say Vipassana is great, but please understand whether it's meant for you or not. Vipassana is like 10 days of silence, absolute silence. You can't speak. You can't even look into each other's eyes. Okay, so it's kind of that extreme. So you can do other things and then reach there. Maybe you can actually start with Sudarshan Kriya, art of living. That's a brilliant way of keeping your, spiritualism intact, as well as, physical health also going. Simple meditation. Simple meditation can also be started with like 10 minutes guided meditations from YouTube. Okay. And yes, I've heard people like, who have just started in the last 6 months, and they are telling me, oh, you use guided meditations. Oh, that's so childish. And I didn't bother to answer. I didn't bother to tell them from last 6, 7 years I've been into things and I don't want you to know. So the idea that guided meditations can be big help. One of the biggest help in my life has been Silva Ultra Mind Technique. Jose Silva's book, you can actually start from that. And then I think Mind Valley is one of the best programs related to Silva. I've tried from other places also, but Mind Valley's program, and they have not given me any money, please, so to talk about it. But I personally found it within 9 minutes, it can actually transform your thinking patterns. And that 9 minutes goes down to like 1 minute, 2 minutes, and you can be at the alpha state. Alpha state is that state where Einstein used to go to find out solutions to his answers. Okay, so once you start attaining those states of mind, there are altered states of mind, you will not be capable of overthinking at all. Like, overthinking is not a thing when you are visiting alpha state every day. You can definitely have 9 minutes for yourself, right? So that is very helpful. Then meditation, as I already said, guided meditations. There are healings, Reiki healing, angel healing, advanced angel healing. In fact, advanced angel healing can also be like a transformative process, because you can actually, like invoke archangels to come and help you. For some people it must be so funny, pata nahi kya bakwas kar rahi hai. Oh, she believes in angels and archangels. Please have more knowledge before commenting. Yes, archangels are there. There are some messengers. We don't know about them actually. We are just naming them as archangels. Our vision, the eyes, just as you must have heard this. I'm sure that much everyone has studied. Like the dogs can hear much more than the humans. Okay, so the human capability is to a certain degree, and the dogs can hear higher than that and lower than that also, right? So any sound which is higher or any sound which is lower cannot be heard by human beings because it's not in that range. Same goes with the eyes. Okay, your vision is also limited because there are many things existing which you cannot see through human eyes at all. They may be sitting right in front of you and you can't see it. Okay, I'm not trying to scare you. Okay, so the positive and negative energies both, and the states of mind you put yourself into, you also kind of attract those energy more towards you. Okay, so some of you may be watching repeated numbers, or repeated trends of something, or some pictures over and over again, or you think of a question ki aisa kya karna chahiye, and then there plays a song in front of you which is the answer, or then you go on YouTube and you just thought about it and the next video that you come across is the answer to your question. That's called synchronicity, because what you are thinking is kind of a thought aloud for beings which are around you. Okay, and they do exist. So healing also can be like very helpful. One thing which only in the last 1 year I've like paid so much attention to, even though before that I understood that I'm growing old. So growing old should be in a healthy way. However, in the last 1 year I've understood my growing old to quite an extent because I changed my diet completely. So diet can have a huge impact. Unfortunately, we have been conditioned to eat unhealthy things. When it's a situation where we want to celebrate, we celebrate with a lot of sweets and a lot of maybe trans fats. So, like, do you think we are aware, we are alive, we are actually understanding what we are doing? Definitely not. And it does contribute to unhealthy weight gain, unhealthy thinking pattern. There's lethargy in your body. When there's lethargy in your body, how do you think your mind is going to be in place, right? Hello, Tanish. How are you, Tanish? Okay. So food also has a great impact on your overthinking patterns and things like that, right? Enough sleep is very important. And enough sleep, I would say that 8 hours of sleep for adults. Great, great. Nice talking to you. So enough sleep is very important. We do not understand some people sleep for 4 hours and then they imagine that we are doing fine. What you're doing is like, you are inviting many diseases. I know some people will say it's very easily said, Arunima, but it's not easy to follow. But I'm just here to tell you the right things. I cannot tell you according to your life, but I know one thing that I've seen in my life work, that where there is a will, there is a way. If you have the will, then you will find out the way yourself, right? And one very, very important thing is having less caffeine. That's something that I've personally seen in myself. Like sometimes I'm overworked and I have to sleep that much. Yet, despite the good amount of sleep, sometimes when it doesn't work and I'm not able to do anything, then I take coffee. But when I take coffee, so the next day is not so bright, because caffeine has its own, problems. And even though they'll try to say itne se zyada mat peena har din, no, caffeine is bad. Please know that, right? So understanding, coming back to the, kind of a summarization of what I said, that overthinking comes from not feeling your emotions enough at the right time. Let's say you had a heartbreak and then you said, I'm fine. Okay, and you just moved on. So that's not a real move on, okay? Feel those feelings then. If in the past you've done that to yourself, then please go back to the past. And so some of my mentees, like this lady said that I married the wrong person and the right person was out there and I didn't marry him. So what should I do? I said, if it is possible to talk to him directly and he would not take it other way and he will not take advantage of you, then talk to him directly. Or energetically, you can think of his presence in front of you, close your eyes and say sorry to him. So she was a very logical person, an engineer, and she sat down and she did it. She said that, when everyone was asleep, I was, having this mental conversation with him. And while I had this mental conversation, he sent me a message. So telepathy is very, very real, okay? And then they had a conversation and she told him particularly that I'm going to block you, but I feel sad for making that decision, wrong decision before marriage. So that conversation happened, and then, things brightened up between her and the husband as well. Okay, because somewhere down the line, she had this, I chose the wrong person, chose the wrong person, chose the wrong person. And she was feeling guilty on part of that man also, whom she had left. So sometimes we make wrong decisions, but there is a way out there to forgive ourselves. There is a way to take action even now, and express those feelings, feel those feelings, accept it. Acceptance is the biggest thing. You accept it that I was wrong. Yes, I was wrong. What I did was very selfish, or what I did was very foolish. Accept it and then let it go. Let that thing go. Okay, open your hands and let it go. Okay, so that's it for today. If there are any questions, please do ask. I'll sign off. Thank you so much. Arunimasana. Good night.